are being drawn, and shortly after they will be loaded in our app, where you can at the moment still see Dante, that traveling, I was about to say traveling salesman, but I don't think he's selling anything apart from punches. And
he does look like he's going to punch you in the face, doesn't he?
And he's selling those punches for free. I think that's a special deal. All right. So who goes first? Pascal, of course, has the choice, but he doesn't have to go first. He can also opt his opponent going first, Kevin. So Kevin's got a Seer, a Graph, 2 copies of Twister, and a Night Beam. Let's take a look at Pascal's hand.
Breakthrough skill, Artifact Moraltech, Call the Haunted, Soul Taker, and Artifact Ignition.
Artifact Ignition is a card that we haven't seen this weekend so far, even though we've seen plenty of artifacts.
Most people won't play it. That's why. Generally, although it's really nice, it gets rid of one of your artifacts, if you don't have an artifact on the field, it's weird. A lot of people just prefer to just run Sanctum over it.
Yeah, Sanctum is like the Abysphere for the theme deck without the drawback of Abysphere.
Yep.
So, very good card. With another effect on top of that, which is also quite useful. So, it doesn't get much better than that. So let's check out what Kevin has drawn into, and he drew into Calcap.
He did actually put the Twisters into his deck, which is interesting, because if he hits the hits that Artifact Ignition, he's skipping his next battle phase and allowing his opponent to possibly get.
I always thought that the
Night Beam. Night Beam is hitting.
So
Moraltech,
and it comes back.
That was an unfortunate hit.
I always thought that against Hat, you simply ignore their back row, because they're going to try and get rid of their own back row anyway.
Not always. A lot of the back row is going to be trap holes.
Oh, right.
So you kind of want to try and get rid of it, or at least force some activations when you've got nothing on the field.
So there's a special summon and a normal summon, it appears. And following that, of course, as always, the special summon or Exceed summon of Dante. The most important card of the deck.
Now this is an example where Artifact Ignition just isn't helping. If it was an Artifact Sanctum, it would be a much different story. Because there's now nothing on his opponent's side of the field to destroy. He'd have to destroy one of his useful cards, such as Breakthrough Skill, which I believe he's going to be playing there.
Yeah, and also Pascal does have 3 cards in his back row, so Kevin might be like, what am I looking at here? And
I believe he still has to send cards from the top of his deck because that's a cost. Is that correct?
Let's check Dante's effect one more time for you guys. I think that's part of the effect resolution, but you can detach and choose a number, then send that many cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard.
No, it's not a cost. Yeah, it's part of the effect.
No. It's still prior to the semicolon, so it is part of the cost.
It's part of the cost, is it? That's fine then. Okay, so he sent a Rubik to the graveyard, which does nothing in the graveyard. Graph gets its effect, though, allowing it to special summon.
So the Breakthrough Skill, the only thing it really does is making sure that Dante is not going to go up on 2,500 attack.
Yeah, which is really, really helpful in this situation.
Yeah, because if Dante does not attack, it's not going to switch to defense position.
Which means it's going to get taken out. But then he will get the effect of whichever Burning Abyss is underneath that Dante. I can't quite see it there. And also Dante's effect as well.
Yeah, so it wouldn't hurt Kevin too much. I mean, he's going to take some damage. But it's far from a worst case scenario. And he's got the 2 copies of Twister still in his hand. I think he's going to set those. How useful is it to destroy your opponent's spell and trap cards in their turn?
Well, incredibly, because then none of the artifact effects are going to happen.
So maybe that was his strategy going into this?
Possible.
Alright, we cannot bring up Twister for you guys, because it's missing in our app.
Now, Pascal does have Soul Taker in his hand as well. Let's see if we can see that.
That's a card we haven't seen in quite a while.
Yeah, no, in quite a long time. Now, another Dante just hit the field.
And they do come in pairs quite often. And, 2 copies of Mystical Space Typhoon being sent to the graveyard. So, Pascal might be thinking, oh, Kevin doesn't have any destruction anymore for my spell and trap cards, or very little only. And that's far from the truth with those 2 copies of Twister.
Okay, and he gets the 2 attacks through, so he can turn his Dante's to defense mode. Actually, no. That Dante won't turn to defense mode, because its effect's negated.
Yes. And that is something to keep in mind here. But so far, I think everything has been ruled correctly on our feature match table. Sometimes we got slightly confused because we don't have sound. We weren't quite sure, for example, what turn it was in the timeout, for example. But the judges have been doing an excellent job so far, making sure that everything has been played out in the correct way. And so the first attack connected, with Dante attacking over the artifact Moraltach. And there's a...
I think he's just making an explanation of how he got out to Dante.
Yeah.
Graf was discarded, which special summoned. He special summoned one of his Burning Beasts from his hand, and then made another Dante.
I think it was Rubik. Is it Rubik? I think it was Rubik. Alright, so that's Pascal's hand at the moment. That's his field. It's not looking too good.
Well, actually, when the attack... It's interesting he let the attack go through. He has a Call of the Haunted and a Moraltech in the graveyard, and could have just immediately got rid of one of the Dantes, and not let the second attack go through.
Yes, the second one. He definitely has to...
He would have to take the first one, because that destroyed the Moraltech.
Yeah, of course. So that's the Artifact Ignition to destroy the Twister.
That's fine.
That is definitely fine, and it's got a second effect. It's like a little bit like an MST, but with an additional effect.
Allows you to set one of your artifacts from the...
So you can only play it in an artifact deck, really. Otherwise it would be a possible stable, I guess, that everybody would be running this card.
It's actually still pretty good, thinking about it, because you can destroy one spell trap card on the field, and if you do, it doesn't matter if you have one or if you don't have one, if I believe that's correct.
I think there's a ruling that says you have to have an artifact in your deck. I'm not 100% sure. It says the last sentence. You must have an artifact in your main deck to activate this card.
Reading the cards.
Yeah, it helps.
It's the it's the judging of the future.
Alright, so it's not a ruling, it's just a line on that card.
Yeah, because if it wasn't, then the second effect of Artifact Ignition would be fantastic. Or the third effect, I guess.
Right, so the second Dante not switching to defense position because its effect were negated by the breakthrough skill. And Pascal drawing into... We don't see it yet. Could you make it out? No. It's another copy of Call of the Haunted.
Which is really quite good for him, actually.
That goes face down. And he doesn't use the Soul Ticket.
And you may have just heard a bell going off. That's time on the round for everyone else. So we just got a little bit more time here.
Yeah, we started around 5 to 10 minutes later than the rest of the round because we still have to make some preparations prior to the game with the hands of the players being loaded into our app, for example, and instructing them how the whole thing works because this is slightly different from a normal duel, which is why nervousness is getting the better of some of the players here in the feature match area, and that's why some players don't like to be featured. They're like, I don't want to make a mistake and everybody sees it.
That's correct. Now, he currently has the ability to bring out Moraltach during his opponent's turn. So he's going to be able to get rid of a Dante. If that then gets taken out by the other Dante, he can then special summon the Moraltach with the second Call of the Haunted to get rid of the other Dante. And he can do that in the end phase as well, meaning he's not going to really gain anything from the effect.
So a big
I
question.
believe that's a Calcab that's just happened there.
Yep. So Pascal is now. Do you know what the card in the middle was? Is it the artifact Scythe?
Could very well be.
I think the calls were on the left and on the right, and in the middle, I think it was the artifact Scythe. And
Artifact Scythe is a very, very underrated card.
Yeah, I was about to ask, how good is it right now?
In general, it just stops your opponent from Xe summoning.
Yeah, but there are already 2 Dantes on the field, so...
that's not necessarily a problem with those 2 Call of the Haunted and Moraltechs. If he was, let's say, summon...
it was a Call of the Haunted.
Yeah.
And it's going to bring back a Moraltach.
Does Moraltech receive its effect, is the question.
Yeah, that's basically half the time they yeah, it depends on the card text, of course. It simply says during your opponent's turn when the set card
If this card is special summoned during your opponent's turn, you can destroy one face-up card your opponent controls. And it was definitely special summoned, and then it will be destroyed, so it should still gain its effect, as far as I'm aware. There is no sort of timing issues, because there's no if you do this and if you do that.
Now, I think the thing is that after it was special summoned, that's the last thing that must have happened at the resolution of a chain for him to activate the effect in a new chain. That's possible.
Yeah.
And this is the question that they have directed to the judge here, who's come over again, Paul Race, and he's now listening to both players' accounts of what happened, and yeah, checking the effect of that Rubik. It was
That's Calcap.
Calcap.
Yeah, he's trying to return that Call the Haunted back to hand. They're just discussing the ruling. Let's see what they ruled in favour of.
It appears that, or is Paul looking up the card text, or is he already certain of what's happening?
It's possible he's looking at the card text. Nope, they ruled in favour of Moraltech.
Not missing the timing.
Yeah.
All right. So there goes one Dante, and it triggers, of course, allowing Kevin to return any of the many Burning Abyss cards in his graveyard to his hand.
Call of the Haunted there. Extremely good in any artifact deck.
I think Pharaoh's Servant was the set that this card was first released.
Yes, a long, long time ago.
Yeah. 10 long years of Yu-Gi-Oh! 10 good years, I want to add.
Okay,
Alright.
So he's special summoning there. Interesting. Call the Haunted still should have returned to hand, I'm sure. Although, no, sorry, Calcab is set spell or trap card. So yeah, he is correct in that. Now, this is possibly an unfortunate end.
So Virgil, the rock star, the man with the guitar that we talked about earlier,
the guy that just doesn't care,
has hit the field.
He's also the Season 2 Regionals mat for Europe.
And Kevin is still holding on to a graph, so he's got something to discard for the effect of Virgil. Yeah, he's got a Toga as well and a Twister, so Kevin is not going to run out of steam anytime soon here.
Now, it is unfortunate for Pascal that the Virgil's there. Oh, hello. He's not actually getting rid of... let's see what it was that was returned to the deck, because he targeted one of the face-down cards rather than either the Moraltech or the Call of the Haunted.
And
so it was either Scythe or Call of the Haunted. Oh, it was the Call of the Haunted. Scythe is still there.
Yeah, and now there are no more targets in Pascal's graveyard, so that was very, very fortunate hit for Kevin here, denying his opponent the second Call of the Haunted. And this is looking very promising for Kevin, in my opinion, which is also what the majority of you has been voting for. Maybe we have some Swiss viewers here.
I believe Kevin there is going to be Seed Summoning. Just really depends what he's going to go for now. He has a massive kind of arsenal, but he's going for another Dante.
Yeah, why think when you got Dante?
Well.
Alright, so there is that.
Twister.
And he forces the handshake. And yeah, that was very commanding victory by Kevin Kammermann.
Welcome to the new age of Burning Abyss is basically just what that game said.